Just days after the largest hack in crypto, Bybit has fully covered the $1.4 billion Ethereum loss, and these two RWA coins are picking up a lot of momentum recently. This is your Altcoins news. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, altcoins.io, and as always, not financial advice, and wish you the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Alright guys, happy Monday. We've had a very interesting weekend with the whole Bybit hack and everything going on. And unfortunately, the market is not doing that great. I thought we'd have a pretty green weekend. But then on Friday night, the whole Bybit situation happened. $1.4 billion in ETH got hacked from a cold wallet. And surprisingly, ETH is actually holding up, better than I thought with that whole thing going on. But it's not looking great today. It was looking better over the last day. But it looks like everything is just starting to sell off here on Monday morning. I will say at the same time, stocks had a really rough day on Friday as well. So the S&P was down, one of the biggest daily red candles as well. And the NASDAQ isn't looking the best either. So I will say it's not just crypto, but Bitcoin actually held up well compared to the regular stock market on Friday. It just, over the weekend, it just kind of bled out. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But first off, we have, follow up on what happened with Friday and Bybit. So if you don't know, Bybit, one of the biggest exchanges in crypto, was hacked for $1.4 billion of Ethereum from one specific cold wallet. Everything else was isolated, so it was just that one wallet. But Casey Taylor says, Bybit just delivered a masterclass in crisis communications after experiencing the largest hack in crypto history. This situation is still live, but they've already succeeded in calming markets. It's a teachable moment for the rest of us. Here's what they did right and why it matters. So first off, they had immediate and personal response. The first message came within 30 minutes of the first public report of the hack directly from the CEO, not a faceless corporate account. Seeing a leader's face builds trust, especially in a crisis. After most hacks, the team's instinct is to hide and hedge, so people learn the story somewhere else. Instead, Bybit took ownership and became the primary communication channel where the story developed. So Ben Zhao, who is the CEO of Bybit, did a really good job on his own personal account talking about what happened, and then he went live pretty much directly after. They had fast, transparent follow-ups. 7 minutes after the CEO's statement, Bybit's official account issued an official statement that spoke in concrete terms that any user could understand. They then assured the market what they wanted to know, that funds were Seifu. Although everyone says that, so it's hard to know exactly if they are really Seifu after FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried said the same thing. And number 3, live stream facing the community. So instead of letting speculation and FUD run wild, the CEO went live. Not a pre-recorded video, a real-time conversation. This move reassured users that the company was confident and had nothing to hide. Although I will say at the time when he was live, it wasn't very reassuring. I was watching the price. It was going down as he was speaking. But I think afterwards, everyone kind of calmed down in the market, then, came back, although it's not looking so good this morning. But during the time, it is good that he did this, I believe. A lot of people think it wasn't good because the price was going down as he was saying this. But I think overall, in the grand scheme of things, it was good that the CEO came out and did this and, answered questions in real time. Then skipping down a little farther, number 10, reinforcing Bybit's strength. They used this moment to reiterate Bybit's one-to-one asset backing and proof of reserves, the key reason why they were able to quickly secure a bridge loan and continue processing all withdrawals without freezing funds. And even if the funds were lost, the CEO reiterated, our balance sheet is strong enough to make good on the loss, even without any asset recovery. So Bybit is one of the, exchanges that is, the most profitable. They make a ton of money every month in profit from fees of traders. And so even if they did lose this $1.4 billion, they could cover the hole with their own company treasury. And that's kind of what people wanted to hear, is that even if, they didn't get their money back, because now we know that it was a North Korean Lazarus group that hacked this, and a lot of times you don't get your money back from North Korean hackers. So even if, they didn't get the money back, then they could cover everyone's loss, and that ETH that they had, which was one-to-one backing for, users' funds, they were then able to, back that with their own treasury, and, it seems they're fine. Then we have Look on Chain saying Bybit bought another 34,743 ETH for $97.7 million via OTC 40 minutes ago. So everyone was speculating that $1.4 billion of ETH was stolen, and then they'd have to market buy $1.4 billion. Although that's not very true, and it wouldn't be very, productive, especially if they were able to recover that Ethereum. If they got the Ethereum back and then they had market bought the Ethereum and then the price dumped after they bought, they'd be out, they'd be out a lot of money, and they'd have double the amount of ETH that they need. So they just bought OTC, and they were doing a lot of bridge loans with other exchanges and borrowing funds from exchanges. And so they're buying everything OTC. That's why we didn't see an insane spike on Ethereum from Bybit buying. They just bought everything OTC. And then Ben Zhao, the CEO, also said today, the latest update, Bybit has already fully closed the ETH gap. New audited proof of reserve report will be published very soon to show the Bybit is again backed 100%, 1-to-1 on client assets through the Merkle tree. Stay tuned. So already just a few days later, this was late on Friday night and now it's Monday, and they're already backed 1-to-1 again. And so they've closed the gap, but they've, borrowed enough ETH, they've gotten enough bridge loans. So after this whole weekend, Bitcoin is roughly in the same spot. Ethereum is starting to sell off a bit now. Everyone's just kind of maybe front running the selling that's going on with, they're expecting the Lazarus group to sell off ETH to Bitcoin because that's usually what they do. They want to have Bitcoin in the reserves. I saw a pretty funny meme that was saying that, North Korea, Kim Jong-un is just announcing a $1.4 billion Ethereum reserve this weekend. So overall, Bybit did a great job handling this hack and the situation and users' funds and everything. And the entire time that it was going on, they were processing withdrawals like crazy, even though they were congested. I think they processed like an insane amount of withdrawals as, they were fighting this whole thing. And so everyone got their money out, only for them to, put it back today, I'm sure. So Bybit did a great job with this whole situation. By now, you guys already know that Wanchain is the OG of bridges. In fact, they're the reason we call these cross-chain apps bridges in the first place. And Wanchain has been chugging along, doing its thing quietly by moving over $1 billion in assets while never getting hacked. Just moving money for people safely, quickly, and quietly. But Wanchain has something new with some great new features even for those of us who use their bridges regularly. And many of us on the Altcoin Buzz team do. So let's see what's new with them. Most of Wanchain's bridge volume comes from its great XFlows service. For those of you who may not remember, this is where you can bridge native assets for native assets. So when you move USDT from BNB to Optimism, you don't get the bridged or wrapped versions, you get the native version. This means more flexibility for you and fewer restrictions and risks that come with wrapped tokens. The XFlows specialty for years were the four most popular tokens: Bitcoin, ETH, USDC, and USDT, but more are on the way, and I'll tell you about that in a second. When the tokens arrive on your destination chain, because you have the native token, you can use it for whatever you want. XFlows has been so successful that it now has its own standalone app, and this is what it looks like. This means DEX aggregators and other apps and protocols can more easily integrate XFlows into their existing apps. It also means a lot more volume and fees earned for Wanchain's one token holders. All that plus more, better, and safer bridging on more apps. It's a win-win-win, and everybody wins. And the new independent standalone XFlows just launched this week, and Wanchain just announced native token to native token swaps, not just for USDT and USDC as they have now, but the native token on all chains like ETH, BNB, OP, Solana, and others. XFlows is already decentralized, fast, non-custodial, so no worries about wrapping or custodial risks. It's cheap and no slippage, just fees and gas. But now you can do even more native swaps with this new functionality. For example, if you have ETH and you want to use QuickSwap on the Polygon chain, you'd normally have to do two transactions. First, bridge to Polygon, and then swap for the Polygon token. But now you'll be able to swap native ETH tokens directly for native Polygon tokens in one transaction. This saves time, money, and platform and counterparty risks. So you'd be able to swap directly from native ETH on Ethereum to Pol, which is native to Polygon. You can then use your Pol on QuickSwap, for example, with no worries. Plus, it's faster and cheaper than the native bridge from ETH to Pol. As both a standalone app and with these new native tokens to native token swaps, Wanchain's XFlows are better than ever. Regular bridge users like us and Wanchain holders have a lot to look forward to with the new look and functionality of Wanchain XFlows. With native token swaps from ETH to BNB, or Avalanche to Polygon, or even Optimism to Arbitrum, or any of the 16 chains it supports, it's even faster to move money than it was before. You can do more with your assets than ever before, so try the new XFlows app today with the link down below. And then moving on, we have Charles Hoskinson saying, Cardano awakening to Bitcoin DeFi. $2 trillion of Bitcoin assets have no TVL right now, and that's about to change. So he said this.
So Bitcoin DeFi is going to be a huge category because you're like $2 trillion of assets are waking up and they have no TVL right now. And all those Bitcoin guys are like, we want yield and we want taps and these other things. And what's cool is Cardano also has this concept called Babel fees, which allow you to pay your transaction fees in the underlying asset, not ADA. So if you have wrapped Bitcoin on Cardano, you can basically pay your transaction fees in Bitcoin. So from the Bitcoin user's perspective, you never really leave Bitcoin and you never have to have another token to use Bitcoin.
Now, Tap Tools also says dormant whales are waking up, while it's holding hundreds of thousands of ADA for years, are now making moves, deploying capital into the ecosystem. This one has already scooped up 500K plus in assets. The rotation into Cardano native assets has begun. And Messari also recently put out the state of Cardano Q4, and they said, key update, Cardano initiates the Chang hard fork, paving the way for full on-chain governance and community-driven development. The quarter-over-quarter metrics, ADA's price rose 126%, the daily transactions rose 65%, and the DeFi TVL rose by 94%. Then moving on, we have the CTO of Ripple's XRP, David Schwartz, says we're on the cusp of mass institutional adoption. So he said this recently.
I feel like we really are on the cusp of a mass institutional adoption, both of DeFi and of other blockchain technologies. I think this is also like one of the key obstacles to mass retail adoption. A lot of people in the space previously thought that retail adoption was like the big wave, but I think institutional adoption is a precursor. You have to connect to where people are. You have to go to where the value is. You can't build a new financial system from zero, ignoring the existing financial system where everybody's money is, where all the value is, where the real world is, trillions of dollars in value. You can't just say, oh, forget about all that. Let's just build something new over here. That doesn't work. And so I think this wave of institutional adoption over the next year or two is going to be what's going to pave the way for mass retail adoption. And then we can deliver on those promises. Like, we all want to bank the unbanked, but like the unbanked, like they have to be able to spend their money to buy groceries and pay their phone bill. And so we have to have that institutional connectivity.
And then also Ripple's RLUST hit a total supply of $120 million within its first 2 months of launch amid growing adoption. The total supply now sits around $120.8 million. Now XRP is one of the ones, I will say, I can't really single it out. Everything's not looking that great. I was hoping, we'd come back up here and test these highs around $3 after this level reclaim, but we are just kind of dripping down through support here. Not something that you really want to see, especially on the daily candle here. So if we do continue to going down, I do expect us to maybe do an underside retest and then probably retest this level down at around $2. So if you are someone who is into XRP and you want to buy more XRP, probably a good level to look for to buy more around this $2 range. Because unfortunately, I do think, if Bitcoin continues going down, the rest of the market continues going down, Bitcoin probably sees the bottom of this range at $92-ish to $91,000. We probably see somewhere around here. And that kind of correlates with the bottom of this range for XRP around $2. It's currently at $247. So if Bitcoin does continue to go down, you could probably pick up more XRP right around this $2 range. And I expect us to see higher numbers later this cycle. Just in the short term right now, we probably do make a pullback towards $2 if we do hold below this level of support right here. Despite Bitcoin's choppy recent trading action, people still believe a profitable altcoin season is coming, and new projects and altcoins are launching every day. One way you can trade new coins is with CoinEx. They're one of the best exchanges you haven't heard of. CoinEx has an extensive launch pool program and a great campaign going on right now. It's their 9th launch pool event. From now through the end of the day on Wednesday, if you trade in superapp's DeFi token, you can earn part of a 1 million DeFi prize pool. DeFi is one of the first crypto antivirus, anti-scam software providers, along with its own wallet, portfolio tracker, and audit database. DeFi has been flat for the last 3 months and down since the big January liquidation. Even so, it's still well undervalued for a super app at just over $4 million. So take advantage of CoinEx's launch pool events to get the quality alts like DeFi and earn more rewards. Start today by setting up your account on CoinEx and earn your part of this 1 million DeFi prize pool. Click the link down below for more details. And then Ondo Finance says Ondo Chain represents a calculated approach to what we believe will revolutionize traditional finance. Though early in this pursuit, we're not alone in our approach. Franklin Templeton, Wellington Management, Wisdom Tree, Google Cloud, McKinsey, and more share our vision, and as such will hold core positions in the Ondo Chain Design Consortium. According to Ian DeBode, Chief Strategy Officer at Ondo Finance, Ondo Chain is designed to make it super seamless for big institutions to come on chain. And so he said this.
Ondo Chain really is also designed to make it super seamless for these big institutions to come on chain. I'm thinking of the fact that they can just stake real-world assets for network security and other critical functions like publishing prices on chain, doing proof of reserves, and bridging transactions.
And then we also have Rendoshi who said this, which is pretty funny. Upbit is the MicroStrategy of Ondo. The Korean exchange keeps stacking more Ondo and now owns almost 4% of the entire supply. So Binance keeps stacking Ondo, but also Upbit, the Korean exchange, is stacking the most amount of Upbit, and they're pretty much the MicroStrategy for Ondo. They're owning 4% of the entire supply, which is absolutely crazy. And then Ondo, I will say, it kind of let me down recently. Now, even though all these exchanges are accumulating, it doesn't mean that the price has to go up if the whole market doesn't look good. Now, we did break down through support here, so it's not looking the greatest. I do expect us to come back down here towards around 96 cents for the next level of support here. This is a pretty big level of support here. So unfortunately, Ondo not looking the best, but if you are someone who wants to buy more spot Ondo or trade it, I do expect us to come down here to this 96 cent level and maybe consolidate around here before we head back up in the future. I do think March will be bullish. But I did say that about January and February, like every other crypto YouTuber. So it's very hard to say with the cycle. It's very different. But March, I do believe will be bullish with how bearish January and February have been. So if you do want to pick up more Ondo, this is probably a good place to pick it up around 95 to 96 cents. So Ondo, yeah, wait a little bit right now because it's not looking the best right now. We could probably go down another 10%. But then we have another RWA token, which has been defined the rest of the market, and that is Mantra. So Mantra recently said, beyond thrilled to share, we've successfully obtained the first DeFi license from Vera Dubai to operate as a virtual asset exchange and offer broker-dealer, management, and investment services. It's a milestone not just for Mantra and a key step in our journey towards expansion, but for the wider Web3 industry as well. And also Mantra has been listed on the Crypto.com exchange. An LA chart says Mantra looks to have broken out of the bullish flag, potentially setting up for a move towards $10. So Mantra is looking really good, been pretty much defined the rest of the crypto market. I mean, just look at the difference in this chart of Mantra's own token compared to like Ondo or really anything else. Just everything's making lower highs, and then Mantra is just up only, it seems. I will say though, charts that do this, and it does look great, this is, a bull market somewhere, charts that do this usually pull back the hardest. So you kind of want to be careful with Mantra. You really want to be watching this, even if you have spot buys, because I feel like at some point it will dump the hardest. I mean, it has been up only. It's been, pretty much nonstop. I remember talking about it down here around $1 when they're about to have some big token airdrop, and I thought it would dump, but then it did the opposite and continued much higher. So you never know when this thing is going to dump, but it's been up only, and it doesn't seem very natural, but at least it's possible that you can ride the wave while it's going up. I will say though, this doesn't look organic. It doesn't look like natural price movement. But if it keeps going up, it's a good asset to trade. So I do imagine for the next day or so, maybe we do a bit of consolidation here with the rest of the market. But since it's kind of a market leader right now and it's holding up, maybe it just goes sideways before it does another big leg up. And just continues up higher. I wouldn't be buying it right now if I were you. I'd be waiting for maybe a pullback down towards around $7. But it's very hard to say with this coin. It doesn't really do what most coins do. But yeah, that is it for the video today, guys. Unfortunately, not a very positive one, but I do think March will be bullish. I do think once we come down here and test this, I do think we probably test this at some point. Once we do come down to around $90,000, reclaim this level, we are off to the races. It feels like we have had endless, bullish news that hasn't done anything, and we've had a bunch of bearish things come out. And so the price is still holding around here. I just expect someday there's just going to be some kind of event that just sends us right down here. And then we finally can go up after everything has been flushed out a little bit more. So hold in there, guys. We are going to have a bull market at some point. It's been a pretty rough bull market so far, but hang in there because I do think there are better times ahead in the next coming weeks. So I will see you guys tomorrow.